That he thinks he's a top 5 point guard in the NBA. Simple as that. The point guard position in the association loaded with talent, including Chris Paul, who turns 36 years young today. Happy birthday to him. So that got us thinking, who are the top 5 point guards in the NBA? Stephen A., I love a good list, especially a Stephen's A list. I know this isn't one, so I'm not going to get all the hoopla.
Yep.
I prefer you to be standing the whole thing, but I'll let you sit this time.
Right. Well, first of all, I'm not picking LeBron James. I'm not picking LeBron James because I'm not picking forwards for this list. I don't give a damn.
That's good, because Max said he's on the decline yesterday. You missed that, too.
Oh, God. Here's the deal. I got Luka at number 5, averaging 28, 9, and 8. I've got CP3 at number 4.
You're going too fast. Luka 5.
Luka 5. Yep. CP3, number 4.
Okay.
Damian Lillard, number 3.
Okay.
James Harden, number 2.
Okay.
All right, because we ignoring injuries and all of that stuff. We just talk about what we've seen from people this season. Mm-hmm. And obviously Steph Curry, number 1.
Well, number 5, I'll put CP3. I think he's number 4. I have Dame, and Steph has to be above Dame because Dame has, carried a big load this year, started to tail off. Steph stayed hot. James Harden is as good a point guard as has ever existed this year until he got hurt. He was already great. He took his game to another level. And the reason I do have LeBron James, even if he says he's in decline, even LeBron in decline is better than everyone else. Maybe. But they're going to have to prove it in the playoffs. Harden will have to prove it in the playoffs to have me put him ahead of LeBron. Mm-hmm. Here's why I put LeBron on and not Luka, Stephen A. You said you're not going to include forwards. Luka's a forward. Because I'm taking guys who initiate the offense, who are the primary ball handlers, playmakers, and who guard the other teams, at least one player in the other team's backcourt. LeBron, I've seen shut down a prime D Rose as an MVP.
For a player, too.
No, I've seen LeBron shut down elite guards in playoff games. That's not Luka. Now, Harden's not a great defender, but he does defend guards. Everyone on my list defends backcourt players routinely, initiates their offense, and is the primary ball handler playmaker. I think LeBron James is not only the greatest point guard today, but in fact, he is the guy who has replaced Magic as the greatest point guard of all time. If you're making your all-time list, you put LeBron at the point.
Well, listen, if you're doing that, I'm not going to knock you for that. I understand it. It's just that when they were looking after they lost Ronda, they went out and they got Dennis Schroeder for a reason. You understand? Because he's essentially your point guard and somebody to take the pressure off LeBron when you don't want LeBron hampered with those obligations all the time. Whereas when you look at Rick Carlisle in Dallas, he said, I came to my senses when I interviewed him and asked him this question. He said, what the hell were we doing, Luka's rookie year? What were we doing that was wrong? We didn't put the ball in his hands and let him run our team. He's our point guard, his exact words. And so when I look at it from that perspective, that's the only reason I don't have LeBron on the list. That's it. Yep. Okay. I look at James Harden. He's a scorer. Remember, Kyrie's supposed to be a point guard, but he's your off guard this year because James Harden is a point guard. So you see what I'm saying? We understand it. So again, we know who the talent is and we know what they do. But I'm just talking about in terms of this year, what you're seeing from people who actually are listed as playing the position and running the offense, both, not just running the offense, but playing the position and running the offense. You designate them as your point guard. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God ever created. And because he's such a marksman, combined with his extraordinary movement without the ball, combined with his ball handling skills, AI, Allen Iverson, Matt Kellerman, called me the other morning at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning.
AI doing up at 8 in the morning.
You'd be surprised. My brother's doing all right. But let me tell you this right now. He gets up. He said, Steph is different. he was all stuttering. Steph is different. He's just different. I mean, damn. Because that's how you marvel at the greatness of this dude. And he loves, remember, AI loves Russell Westbrook. But we're seeing something. This is we talk about once in a generation. We have never, ever seen a Steph Curry. Ever.
Look, guys.
Ever. We have never seen it. And then you got Dame, and we know what a clutch player Dame is, and James Harden, Luka, CP3 is having an MVP, top 2 MVP candidate caliber year.
I don't agree with that.
So I don't know how you can't agree with that.
Top 5, arguably top 3. Look, I'll say this. You're giving Harden the short shrift here. Harden does not shoot it like Steph, as you said. No one in history ever shot it like Steph.
Right.
And Harden has fallen flat deep in the playoffs too often. But right up until that point, Harden has been MVP caliber every single year. And unlike Steph, he's the one dude this year. Tell me even one other player who ever lived who can run your offense like Harden, who has the court vision of Harden, the judgment of James Harden, the passing ability of James Harden with the ability to score from anywhere, get to the paint, free throws, three-point shot. Tell me one other player who does every single thing on Harden level. If he had succeeded already deep in the playoffs, it would be a wrap. But as is, Stephen A., I think that Steph Curry's shooting does not. James Harden took a much inferior team and came that close to beating Steph Game 7.
Stay with me, because I want to be very, very careful about what I'm saying here. Because I'm not you. I believe in James Harden. You like him, and you like what you've seen, but you point out what he's done in the playoffs. Right. I'm not as hard about him in the playoffs the way that you are, because I've seen what he's been up against, and I didn't see him completely tank and fall apart. Only one year when he didn't show up in the Game 6 against San Antonio. Having said all of that, this is what I would tell you. Max Kellerman, I watched Brooklyn. And to watch the game today and what they record as an assist. I mean, I've seen them give dudes assists. I pass it to Max. Max passes it to Molly, and Molly shoots and scores, and I get the assist. But you're the one that passed it to her. You're like, what is this?
Hockey assist.
And then you see them playing or just toying with competition. Because I've seen James Harden get assists when all he did was dribble the ball past half court and throw it to one wing or the other.
Well, Russell Westbrook's crushing it with the assist.
I'm with you, but his team was winning. His team was winning when it was just him and KD. His team was winning when it was just him.
Well, he's up there. That's why I got him
as 2. His team was winning when it was just him.
I got him
no matter
as 2.
who they were playing. And as soon as he's out and it's KD,
I got him as 2.
He needs to come back.
I got him.
Fine for violating media access rules. Kyrie posted this on IG. I pray we utilize the fine money for the marginalized communities in need, especially seeing where our world is presently. I am here for peace, love, and greatness. So stop distracting me and my team and appreciate the art. We move different over here. I do not talk to pawns. My attention is worth more. Stephen A., what does Kyrie's media issues mean for the Nets?
Well, listen, I think that it's building dissent against the Brooklyn Nets. And I think that what happens is that we all recognize the fact that when healthy, this is the team to beat. We all recognize the fact that when James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving are on the court together, there is no one that should beat them. They should win the NBA championship in all seriousness. I can sit up here and laugh about the Knicks and have a ball, and I'm so proud of what I'm seeing from the New York Knicks. But I was born at night, not last night. I know the Knicks can't mess with these boys. I love that line. I know the Knicks can't mess with these boys. I understand that. But I think that what you will have is that you have a situation where it's sad to see Kyrie this way, not really realizing the kind of impact he is having compared to what he could have. And you see a lot of these guys being hit differently. And, you know, you just say to yourself, what the hell are you thinking?
When you say impact, do you mean on the court or off the court?
All of it. All of it. Kyrie Irving is box office. He is a showstopper. This dude is a sensational talent. Okay, and he's box office, and he is worthy of you walking through the turnstiles and paying just to see him play. He's that marvelous of a player. And I got news for you. He's not a bad person. His heart is in the right place. I mean, he and I have butted heads from time to time, and we've had our differences. I know that brother's a good brother. His heart is in the right place. He doesn't mean any harm, but he doesn't understand the harm that he brings to himself. When you sit up there and you defer to people as pawns because they don't think what you think, their belief system might be different from you, or their priorities may be different from you. Did it ever occur to you, Kyrie Irving, that you can afford to have different priorities because your greatness still allows you to step on the court and ball and make tens of millions of dollars per year? Kyrie Irving makes more in 1 year than 99% of the American population would make in their lifetime.
0.9%.
Okay, 99.9%. So again, forgive us if their priorities might be a little bit different than yours. But in the end, you signed on the dotted line. And what did you sign on the dotted line to do? Not just to play basketball, but to help promote the game of basketball, because that's what facilitates you getting the contracts that you have received. It's amazing to me how these obligations are ignored. Once you sign on the dotted line and you know you got your money coming, now you want to prioritize what you want to prioritize. But when you were in pursuit of the bag, or you capitulated. And I remember one time, Max, and I'll give it to you by saying this before I come back later. There's a whole bunch of dudes that show up on draft night, obviously prior to COVID-19. And they show up on draft night. And they had the best outfits, and the hair was right, and whether it was the tats or anything else, it wasn't as conspicuous and all of this other stuff, because they were trying to get the bag. And there was an image that they were willing to project that was somewhat clean cut because it would facilitate them get paid. And then they got paid. And then they want to go out to the public and go like this. Now, hell with that. Be wherever you want to be, when you want to be, and how you want to be it. And all I'm saying is this. If you knew there was a certain way you needed to roll in order to get the money. But there's a whole bunch there's millions upon millions of people out there that will never be them. And if they tried that, they wouldn't get away with it. So you're projecting that kind of image, and it may work for you, but it's going to come back to bite your successors later on down the line, and the American public that watches you, that you're role models to, that want to emulate you, is going to work against them too, because they can't get away with what you can get away with. I wish guys saw that, and they just don't.
We care.
Or don't care.
We care.